And now I'd like to more formally introduce one of our guests of honor today. Kathleen Wynne is our new Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing and the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs. She was first elected as the MPP for Don Valley West in October 2003. I think I used to live in that riding. Kathleen Wynne previously served as the Minister of Transportation and the Minister of Education. She also served as a parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Training, Colleges and Universities, parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Education, chair of the Cabinet Committee of Community Affairs Policy, and chair of the Liberal Women's Caucus. As the Minister of Transportation, Wynne was responsible for ensuring that Ontario is a world leader in moving people and goods safely, efficiently, and sustainably to support a globally competitive economy and a high quality of life. Before joining the government, Wynne served as a trustee on the Toronto District School Board. She holds a master's degree in linguistics from the University of Toronto and a master's degree in adult education from the Ontario Institute for Studies in Education. She also completed mediation training at Harvard University. Building on a lifetime of political activity and a career of public service, Wynne is a knowledgeable and passionate advocate for her community of Don Valley West. She has led citizens groups in a number of grassroots community projects and has played a major role as an organizer and facilitator. Kathleen Wynne has 3 children, Chris, Jesse, and Maggie, and 2 granddaughters, Olivia and Claire. Kathleen and her partner Jane have lived in North Toronto for more than 30 years. And I would just add that the board, as we always do whenever a new minister comes in, says, well, who knows who this person is? Who knows anything about them? And I'd have to say that more of our board members knew or had touched Kathleen's work in some way than I have ever seen with any minister previously. And that's a real testament to how long she has been active in her community and politically. So, Minister, welcome.
Thank you. Hello back there. It's a large room. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm glad to hear that a lot of your board members knew me. Of course, that could be a bad thing or a good thing. He didn't say. Did you notice that? It's great to be here. Bonjour, c'est un grand plaisir d'être ici. This is my first speaking engagement since the Premier appointed me to the Municipal Affairs and Housing and Minister of Aboriginal. So I'm starting my new life with you. And I'm so happy to be here. I have to tell you, the issues that you deal with day in and day out are very near and dear to my heart because of my past life, because of my current life as the Member of Provincial Parliament for Don Valley West, and because I'm a citizen of the world who believes that people should have decent housing. So it's wonderful to be able to engage with you on these issues. And I just want to say that one of the reasons that I got involved in provincial politics, because people have said to me, okay, you've been Minister of Education and Transportation, and how do you feel about this portfolio? One of the reasons I got involved in provincial politics was because of the relationship during the 90s, the late 90s, between the provincial government and the municipal governments, and what I perceived to be a toxic relationship that had developed between the provincial and the municipal levels. And I think that it's extremely important that we recognize that that has not been the case in the last 8 years, that the relationships that we have built have been collectively we've built together have been much more positive, and I want to continue to do that work. And so to be able to work in this ministry, in this sector, is really a gift to me, and I'm very much looking forward to doing the work with you. So thank you. Thank you. I'm also honored to be here today for the 2nd annual presentation of the Kathleen Blinkhorn Aboriginal Student Scholarship Awards. It's nearly 2 years since Kathleen passed away. She's remembered for a lifetime of passionate advocacy for affordable housing, and your scholarship fund is a fitting tribute to a remarkable public servant. So thank you for that, and I'm pleased to be here. And in a way, it's that that scholarship is where the worlds of the two ministries that I now lead meet. And I think it's very important that we see where the synergies are there, and at the same time recognize how we can meet the needs of all of the people in our communities. So I want to thank everyone here. I want to take this opportunity to thank you for the work that you've done in your community. I have met many of you over the years. Some of you I talk to on a much more regular basis, but I know that all of you have done so much to help families, seniors, those with special needs to get the housing that they need and deserve. You recognize that there's a huge need for a range of housing, that there's a need for cross-ministerial work. So Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing working with Ministry of Health, working with Ministry of Community and Social Services, working with Ministry of Children and Youth Services. And I know that in some of my conversations later today, I will be pushed on that kind of integrated work. And I guess I just want to say to you that no matter how we configure ministries, or no matter which functions we put in which ministries, because as you know, over the years, some of you have been at this for a very long time, you know that things have moved around and ministries have had different names and different configurations. No matter how we do that, there will always be a need for ministries to work together. And it's one of the hardest things to do in government, I have discovered over the last 8 years, is to actually get that cross-germination and to get that pulling together. And it's not because there's a lack of will, it's because people put their heads down and do their work, and sometimes it's hard to see outside of those silos. So what I have discovered is that it takes ministerial will, it takes political will at the leadership level. I'm not going to say the top, because I don't see it that way. I see it that, you know, the political arm and the bureaucratic arm work together very closely. But it does take the political will to talk together and to say, okay, in the case of Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing and Health, we're going to have a joint meeting. And the Minister of Health and I are going to talk about the issues that where there's overlap, where the gaps are, where the synchronization is not happening. So I commit to you that that is work that I will do, and I have demonstrated in my previous ministries that it's something that I do believe in, and that I will make happen to the best of my ability. I can't say I'm going to change government completely, but I will do what I can to make sure that the relevant ministries work together. I think that is a conversation that actually can bear more fruit in the short to mid-term than, you know, let's make governance changes, let's make sure we take this piece out of this ministry and put it in another ministry. I want you to push us to make sure that we work together as ministers, so I undertake to do that. So there has been a lot of work done here in Niagara alone. More than 12,000 social housing units have been repaired, and more than 700 new affordable housing units have been built since 2005. Our affordable investment in Niagara has resulted not just in the housing stock being improved, but also in 2,000 jobs for this community. And I've seen in my own riding, I've seen firsthand the fruits of your labor. About a year ago, I attended the groundbreaking of Deauville Place, which is an affordable housing development right in the heart of Flemington Park. And it will mean that a couple of months from now, people will be moving into 62 new affordable rental units for low-income seniors and persons with disabilities. And that's a great success. I know it's not enough, and Keith was talking about the waiting lists and the need, and I know the need outstrips the capacity at this point, and that's why we're having this conversation. And the theme of your conference, getting to where you need to be, is that what it is? Yeah, going to where we need to be. You know, it's important that we continue to talk about where that is, and that we don't have, is it Gertrude Stein who said, when you get there, there's no there? Yeah, we have to make sure that's not what happens, right? We have to make sure we know where the there is, and when we get there, we know it. And we all know that Getting there is, for some, a lifelong journey. So it's not there's no quick fixes. I want to especially congratulate your President, Keith Ward, and the entire ONPHA Board of Directors for their invaluable work. ONPHA continues to be a strong voice for non-profit housing, and we value our partnership very, very much. L'association continue de jouer un rôle important pour le logement sans but lucratif, et nous apprécions notre partenariat avec elle. I'd like to talk about the theme a little bit more, getting to where we need to be, and what it really means in terms of the government's long-term affordable housing strategy, and how that strategy can help us collectively to get to where we need to be. So the notes that I've got in front of me say everyone here knows, and that's true, everyone here knows that affordable housing is a lot more than bricks and mortar. I want to just do a little riff on that. I'm afraid that not everyone knows that long-term goals for affordable housing are more than just about bricks and mortar. One of my concerns as I look at this portfolio is that often the media and the public discourse becomes about bricks and mortar, or frame and nails. It becomes about the stock. It's not about the whole view of housing and what housing means. And it's important to us that we make sure that we insert into that public discourse what we know, and certainly what you know in your bones, that access to affordable housing is crucial to breaking the cycle of poverty, that access to affordable housing means that kids will do better at school, that access to affordable housing means that people will be healthier. And I'm not sure that the general public is always able to make those links. And so part of my job is to, whenever I talk about affordable housing, whenever I talk about housing, that I talk about what it means in that big way, not just about the cost of the housing, not just about the infrastructure, because the infrastructure is very important, the costs are very important, and we all know that in municipalities today, some of our largest municipalities, the cost of housing is what is making headlines. But I think we have to also talk about the cost of underhousing and the cost of lack of housing, and that sometimes doesn't get injected. So again, I commit to you that I will insert that into the conversation wherever and whenever I can. And thank you. So again, here where some of the overlaps are, the responsive community-based housing services are crucial for people who are caught in poverty. They're crucial for people who are dealing with mental illness. Our government heard that message consistently in the consultations for the poverty reduction strategy, and I did sit at that table, and the long-term affordable housing strategy, again, was a place where we heard those messages loudly and clearly. And as I have said, I understand that adequate, safe, affordable housing is a key factor in determining all of those measures of health. And you know, it's so interconnected, because we talk about housing, and if I think about Flemington Park, which is one of the areas that I represent, we can talk about housing, we can talk about the libraries, and we can talk about determinants of health. So the connection there is, if kids don't have places to study and work in their homes, if they don't have any space that is contained or quiet or clean, then they're going to go to the libraries. And the library in Flemington Park is constantly full of kids who are using the computers, who are doing their homework. So when we talk about housing, in the same breath, we've got to talk about what else is available in the community. And so it really is a way into a conversation about how communities work. So we heard those messages. We understand that, and we know that if you're struggling with housing issues, that that may indicate that you're struggling with other things, that the housing struggle may just be the tip of the iceberg in terms of the life struggles. So I want to work with you, I want to work with my cabinet colleagues to help build that pathway out of poverty for people who are in need of those community supports. And some of that work is underway through the long-term affordable housing strategy. And Keith talked about the challenges that we're facing. I'm going to suggest that there are some opportunities right now, because you do have a government that is committed to confronting these ideas, is committed to confronting the challenges both of poverty and housing in an interconnected way. We are beginning to consolidate some of the homelessness and housing programs, and what that will do is streamline and enable funding to be used in a much more flexible manner to improve outcomes. Some of the conversations I've had with some of you over the years have been about those barriers that were mentioned at the beginning of the morning, and the complexity of some of the requirements. So if we can streamline and we can create flexibility, that's a good thing. We'll start with 5 homelessness-related programs, and ministry staff are working right now with their colleagues at Ministry of Community and Social Services to make this happen by 2013. And we'll continue to work together to improve the affordable housing system by building a strong foundation based on 4 key pillars. First of all, putting people first. Secondly, creating strong partnerships. Thirdly, supporting affordable options. And finally, accountability. After lunch today, I'm going to be able to look forward to meeting with your members in small groups, and I find that having those conversations in my other ministries has helped me to understand some of the very specific details of the concerns that you have, that we share, and so I'll be able to listen and learn. And honestly, I don't have a lot of technical answers right now, because I have only been here for a couple of days, but I have a base understanding, and then I'm going to be looking to you to fill me in on some of the details and the technical issues that we're confronting. So there's a saying that nothing great ever happens without enthusiasm. So your enthusiasm and commitment over the years and right now are making it possible to provide more responsive housing services that work for your community. And I share those goals. I think that there's a lot that we can do together. I hope you have a successful conference. I'm glad to be able to spend the day with you, and I really do look forward to working with you. Je vous souhaite une excellente conférence, et je me réjouis de pouvoir continuer notre collaboration. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you, Minister Wynne. We're so happy to have you with us today. I think you'll all agree we're very fortunate to have a minister who gets it, and a minister who cares. So thank you, Minister.